dance with the gypsies, shadows in the mist, which rise from their fires, then cease to exist. In the depths of the woods, where few would survive, live the colorful gypsies in the dark, wretched night. Joy is a poetry club. You get to sit there with people from your generation and also those who aren't, and we sit down and we read our poems to each other and we get them critiqued. And it's really nice to hear other people's poetry. You know, you're sitting among geniuses, you know?
Teacher Judith Fahansky decided to form the Joining Old and Young Poetry Club after reading a newspaper article about a poetry group at a local senior center.
I had seen the Wordshop poets in the paper, read the article, contacted them to see if they would like to work with some young people and share their expertise. And it's been sustainable. We've had the program for now 30 years.
You are my light that shows me the way. You are my might that will always stay. You are my kite that got blown away.
The group, open to all students in grades 6 through 8, meets monthly to collaborate on their latest works.
Sometimes I wish the world would stop being so pretend and so fast. Teenage lives are so drama-filled, it's enough to give anyone whiplash. We treat it like a formal reading almost. The person stands up and they state their name and the poem, and then they read. And then the rest of the poets critique and give their opinions and ideas on the poem.
Youthful and unblemished hands belie her master touch. A natural insouciance makes it look like nothing much.
Some of them have been in just poetry for like 20 or like sometimes even 30 years, and some of them have been in the club for around like 15 years, so they're much more experienced than you, but in a way they're the same as you. You know, they read their poems, they critique the poems, and it's kind of nice because it's pretty much what the club's about, joining old and young.
The third stanza, sizzling splatters punctuate. That whole thing she seduces with her skill. There's something about this that makes me the alliteration that makes me salivate.
The seniors are really helpful because they act like us, like they read their poems and we get to critique them too. So I think it's a great opportunity because they're a different generation. They like have great opinions.
I'm just struck by how open and receptive they are to feedback, to sharing themselves, to offering suggestions, to do it in a caring way, to taking feedback. If I had been asked as a 6th grader to give feedback to someone my age, I would never have even imagined it. And if I'd gotten feedback about don't do this, or I liked your poem, but, I mean, I might have started to weep right there in class. And this class is so robust and energized by it all. It's been wonderful for me.
It's a place in our hearts that there is a key to, but only special people can open it, and we don't know how.
It helps with creativity, it helps with language, it helps with critical thinking, and it helps with empathy. They read somebody else's poem, they try to put themselves in their place, they try to walk the steps that person walked in order to write the poem.
Each year, the culmination of the poet's efforts is a public reading at a bookstore in front of friends and family.
In the reading, at the end of the season, you stand up in front of the crowd and you read your poem, and it's really fun because your parents are there and other people's parents are there, so they get to see all like your hard work throughout the year and what you've accomplished.
That is possibly one of my favorite parts of the Joy Club. You get to read your best poem, the one that's generally you use one that's been critiqued and fixed up, and then you, at the end of it, after everyone's read their poems, you get a rose and a book with your two best poems that you submitted from this season. And it's like a very fancy cover, so it feels like almost like you're getting published. So it's just a very rewarding feeling.
I absolutely love it to see these kids produce poems and to experience how they experience criticism, and in such a positive way. I think that's so wonderful.
As an educator, I'm proud of the sustainability of the program, and I'm proud of the growth that I see in students and the communication skills that they gain, that they can at the end of the year speak in front of a large group of students. Sometimes they come into Joy very reticent to read their poem, but yet they blossom at the end of the experience.
What I love most about poetry is just, it's all you. You can write from fiction, you can write from experience, you can write from the point of view of a person you've never met. You don't have to be a genius to write it. You know, it's just a great way to express yourself.